What are you laughing at?
Do you think that this is just a publicity stunt, Michael?
Would you let Joy talk, please?
It's Michael. Michael's up first.
Look, I've never experienced anything in sports where you only work at it 3 times a day, 3 times a week, and think it's not a publicity stunt. I mean, if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. I mean, you can't do anything in sports unless you're 24/7. You have to have the passion for it, and you can't go back and forth. Well, I don't want to give up this. It is a publicity stunt. It's reality. And there's a sign in New England that says, mental toughness is doing what's good for the team that might not be good for you. And Tim Tebow has this image that he's mentally tough. He's all about the team. And this is an example of he's not.
Okay, now, just for the record, you said something to us off camera yesterday, which I wanted which you were willing to talk about on camera, about how Tim sort of handled himself as a pro football player. You went to selfish, right? Can you?
I think there's no doubt.
Expand on that?
I think this is another example of Tim being Tim. I mean, Tim's about Tim. I mean, let's make no mistake about it. Tim's about Tim.
Make no mistake.
And he is a selfish. When he is in a team, look, they tried to make him a quarterback in New England. If there was ever a place that was going to make him a quarterback, Josh McDaniels was the offensive coordinator. Bill Belichick, who drafted him. Bill Belichick's the head coach who likes the character. But when you break it down, Tim wants to do what's good for Tim. So Tim's going to drop back, and even though he's supposed to read the progression, Tim's going to do what's good for Tim, and Tim's going to run. And Tim wants the football. So, he masquerades that he's a team guy. He masquerades that it's not a publicity stunt. He masquerades that it's, I love it. And look, there's a spiritual Tim, no problem. There's the player Tim. That's what I'm directing my attention to. And the reality of this situation is it's selfish. This is selfish. Sell jerseys, great. Be on television, great. I don't care. Don't try to con me and tell me it's a publicity stunt, because it is.
I'm going to bite my lip until you finish.
No, I want you to go. But masquerading is like Halloween. Like when I dress up as a ghost, I'm not really a ghost. I'm like Shannon. So with Tim Tebow, it's like masquerading. But you go ahead, Skip.
No, you go. Pile on. I want you to pile on, because I'm going to take you both down in just a second.
Look, Skip. Michael, I never heard, when he was in the National Football League, the only thing that he wanted to do was play quarterback in the National Football League.
That's all.
That was his goal, to play quarterback. That was his dream. I didn't hear anything like, hey, I had a dream to play baseball, but I gave up my true love of baseball to play quarterback. I didn't hear about this. The 2 things that I loved most when I was a little kid, playing quarterback in the NFL and hitting a baseball. I never heard that until football was off the table. Look, when I retired, I was in fairly good shape. Skip, I was doing 300, 400 miles a week on my bike. Did I ever want to be Miguel Indurain? Did I think I was Mario Cipollini? No, I knew my place. And plus, I knew the organizers at the Tour de France wasn't going to let me get in because I hadn't been doing it long enough. But lo and behold, because
he's going to do it 3 times a week, though.
How many bicycles could Shannon Sharpe and cycling jerseys and shoes could I sell as opposed to Tim Tebow? How many jerseys can he sell? Here's a guy that has not even played in the minors, the instructional league, and he's signing bats. I have yet to see Pete Rose sign a jersey, football. I have yet to see Willie Mays sign a football.
Enough is enough. I mean, at some point, enough is enough.
Okay, my turn?
Your turn.
Thank you very much.
Take your time.
If this were a publicity stunt in the eyes of MLB, then 28 out of 30 teams would not have sent representatives to his audition that Joy and I attended at USC about 3 weeks ago. 28 out of 30 were there to check him out because he's a legitimate athlete who was an all-state baseball player in Florida. And they said, you know what? We will give him a look-see. And several teams, at least 5, were interested in signing him. Maybe for the publicity, but I think the Mets took a look and said, you know what? Let's see what happens over the long, hot summer when, by the way, he will be there every second of every day once it starts in the springtime. He's going to be on I don't know if it's Class A or AA. We're not sure which battery he's going to choose or which they will choose for him. But he will be there every day riding the buses, and he will get exposed if that's what's going to happen, because he's going to get 400 or 500 at-bats over time. He's going to get exposed in right field or left field or first base. We'll see what happens, because he will be on display night after night after minor league night. Now, back to your premise, selfish football player. Does Tim Tebow have a huge ego? Yeah, every quarterback I've ever known who was successful had a big ego. The man who is sitting across from me right now has the biggest ego in the known world, the Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe, because that's what propelled him into the Hall of Fame. It's who you are and what you do. But to call Tim Tebow selfish is offensive and unfair, because selfish is the guy who decides to try to make himself a star at the expense of the football team. Tim Tebow wanted to do nothing but win the game his way. It's his brand of football. It offends you because it's not what you grew up with. But I said before the draft, if you take him at the bottom, you can go back and look at the tape. I said, if you take him at the bottom of the first round and let him do what he did at Florida, which is not the NFL way, he can be a successful starting quarterback in the National Football League. And by golly, what started happening? Last 3 games of his rookie year, after Josh McDaniels, who drafted him, got fired. What happened? He goes to Oakland, and he starts running the football in the rain. He ran for 78 yards on 8 carries, and they hung right in with their arch rival Raiders. Then what happened back at home? And I know this is the game where he was mic'd up, and he's saying, give me the football. Nobody runs with the football except me. What was he in the process of doing? Going Tim Tebow psycho. I have said this. I've never seen anything quite like. Listen to me. Force of competitive nature. I've never seen a competitor like this kid when he goes psycho. Do you remember the speech he gave at halftime against my Oklahoma Sooners of the national championship game when they trailed at halftime? Could we just see a snippet of it? Just, do you remember? This is the guy. If we could see it, please, fire it up.
Hey, let's go, get in here! Get in here right now! Get in here! Hey, we got 30 minutes for the rest of our lives! 30 minutes for the rest of our lives! That's our bad in the first half. It ain't happening. We get the ball. I promise you one thing. We're going to hit somebody, and we're taking it down the field for a touchdown. I guarantee you that.
I promise you one thing.
And you know what he did? He went out and drove the ball right down my Sooners' throats and took the game over.
Did,
with the help of Percy Harvin, who, by the way, he's willing to share the ball with because Percy was really good at what he did. So then a game that you know about. It's the middle game, the second of the 3 games that he played at the end of his rookie year. He's back home in Denver, a city you know very well. Yep. They're playing the Houston Texans, and they're down 23-10. And guess who led a fourth quarter miraculous comeback in that game to win 24-23 because he threw a touchdown pass and ran for a touchdown? Tim Tebow. They won 24-23 because he became that psycho guy. He went over the edge into Tim Tebow competitiveville, and very few people have inhabited that place like this guy does. So, yeah, he's yelling, nobody's going to run with the football except me, because he's crazed at that point, and it worked, and they won the game.
Can I counter a couple points? First, your first point about 28 teams out of 30. One thing I know, I've been in the NFL for 30 years. If you have a buffet line and a guy that runs fast, you're going to get all 32 teams.
There was no buffet line that day.
Okay.
It was hot.
You're going to get.
Yeah, we were hungry.
You were going to get people
nothing.
there. So part of scouting is you're going to go and learn. So to me, people want it. They're curious. That's what you are as a scout. You're curious. You go and learn. Your definition that you read of selfish defines Tim Tebow. He is about himself. There's 32 teams in the NFL. Most of them are looking for quarterbacks. And most of them are willing to find a quarterback. They'll do whatever it takes to get one. Jared Goff, pay a king's ransom. Carson Wentz, pay a king's ransom. Brock Osweiler, give him $18 million. It doesn't matter. He doesn't want to play quarterback because he's selfish. He wants to drop back and take off and run. Tim, I can honestly quote you on this. They dropped back and they said, Tim, in New England, Tim, when you drop back, you're not allowed to run. You have to throw the ball. You have to throw the ball to somebody because we're not going to run the single wing here. It doesn't work in pro football.
Okay, then he doesn't belong there. He can't do that.
So where does he belong?
Where
he belonged in Denver the way they were playing that first year.
They got killed by 40-some points in a playoff game because they can't throw the ball. You have to throw the ball.
Tom Brady and Gronkowski.
That could have been
Hernandez.
anybody. You have to throw the ball. Teams need quarterbacks. They don't need single wing runners, and he's too selfish.
Okay,
So he drops back.
Explain this to me then. What happened when he took over a 1-4 dead-in-the-water football team the next year?
That's
What
his
happened?
only
Time out.
argument.
Time
Well,
out. It's not my only argument. It's the argument. It's what happened.
Well,
he turned them into the #1 rushing attack in pro football.
throw
They
it.
go
It
7-4 and win the
if it
division.
happens-
How do you explain it?
It happens once.
How do you explain it?
Because it can't happen consistently.
Well,
you
it
can't
did.
cite- you
It
can't-
happened over 11 games.
We began this segment by saying Tom Brady has been in the five less conference. That's a pattern of playing well. Tim Tebow doesn't have a pattern of playing well. He has a pattern of sporadic. I make a play, I throw the ball in the end zone and against Miami, and I have this incredible comeback. I grant
He
I
had
give you all
5
that.
or 6
Look,
incredible
look,
comebacks.
I grant you all those things, but the Tim Tebow that was sold to people out there of being a team player, it's not about me. It's about what I want to do. It's about the team. It's not a publicity stunt. Give me a break, please. At some point.
Does he
I'm glad
attract attention? Yes, he does. He attracts. That's the media's fault. Go ahead.
No, it's his fault. It's his fault.
I am glad that Michael Lombardi broached this subject because had I done it, Joy, I'm jealous of Tim Tebow. I'm racist.
You are.
But
I didn't say you're racist, but you're jealous.
Because black guy criticizing a white guy,
This is not about color. This is not about color.
Let me ask you a question. David Copperfield, David Blaine, Penn and Teller. What do they all have in common?
They're magicians.
And they still have sold-out shows. Why? Because someone wants to believe what they're seeing is real.
Okay, wait. Were those fake wins that year in 2011? Were they
Hold on,
fake?
hold on.
Did they count?
Skip. I sat back and I watched you debate Michael. Michael made a very
you just listen to me talk.
Yeah,
That's
I let Michael make a compelling case that I really. Tim gave you this illusion, and people want to believe in their sincerity that what they see on television is the actuality of what he is.
Did he win the games? Did they win the division from
Mike
1
didn't
and
say
4?
he didn't win.
How?
Mike said he was
I-
selfish.
Look,
Okay,
I'm
did they
Grant's-
win a home playoff game? Was that an
Skip,
illusion?
I have no problem admitting that he did. And there was hope there. Look, when he came out of college, there's nothing more. I wanted the guy to be successful. Josh McDaniels is a friend of mine. I want him to go to Denver and be successful. He's in New England. Bill's a friend of mine. I want him to be successful. You want something, but sometimes you can't make something that's not there. He did it. He did it well. But he couldn't do it consistently. We have a 20-game rule in the NFL.
He never got another chance to do it consistently.
He went to
that
New
was
England.
the end of him.
He went to Philadelphia 2 years ago.
Didn't get a chance.
If there's an offense in football that is more conducive than Chip Kelly's offense, because Chip Kelly on 3rd and 8 wants to run the ball. Chip Kelly wants to run the ball. The first game they won, the San Francisco 49ers beat the Rams. They had 62 rushes and completions combined. They want to run the ball. He wants to run the ball. He goes to Philly. He has every chance to be the 3rd-string quarterback.
He didn't make it to the regular season.
He gets cut. He gets cut for Thaddeus Lewis. They brought him in. They brought Steven.
Who wasn't on the roster.
Who wasn't on the roster. He can't do it. At some point, you have to say to yourself, I got to stop wishing for it, and I got to face reality. He can't do it. That's a publicity stunt. It is what it is. We can move on.
What
I hope he
wish
sells
is we had more time, but we're out, Joy. Even
We
though
are out of
I made
time,
my case.
and
The
I
rest
You
of my
did not
case-
make a case.
I love it.
You did not.
I love it. I love
I
it.
disagree. I think he's very sweet. But thank you for
thank
joining
you,
us.
Joy.
Yeah,
That's really good.